You guys, salute everybody tapping on in. Ticket TV, like, share, and subscribe as y'all come on in the building. And the verdict is in. You guys, the verdict is in. And a lot of people are shaking both ways on this verdict as Alicia Andrews and the murder of rapper Julio Folio has been found guilty and not guilty. She had two different counts against her, and I will break down the counts against her right now. Now, Alicia Andrews uh, was found guilty of manslaughter, and she was found not guilty of count two, which count two, and I'm gonna put this on the screen. Shout out to Jen Just Law. Uh, so she was found guilty on count one of first degree premeditated murder as a principal, and she was found not guilty on count two of conspiracy to commit first degree premeditated murder. Right? So, once again, for you guys who want to know what's going on, the jury is in with the verdict, and the verdict is guilty and not guilty. So, once again, this woman right here, and I'm telling you guys again, this situation is crazy. Now, she got on the stand. A lot of people wanted me to cover this trial. I didn't feel like covering this trial, man. It was just going to be too much every single day. But I followed the trial. Didn't do a lot of updates on this channel at all. Didn't do any updates at all on this channel. But I watched all of the updates in this trial. Now, she got on the stand. And when she got on the stand, a lot of people said they thought she was lying. A very few people thought she was telling the truth. Now, when she got on the stand, she basically said she ain't know nothing. They asked her, well, did you have a mask on going to a club with your boyfriend? She had one of those masks on and said, well, yeah, I had it on because she said so. So this is why I think that she destroyed herself. She said she went to the club in Crocs, in a mask, Crocs, not even clothes for the club, but in a mask, Crocs, and things like this, right? So she gets there and she says, oh, well, my boyfriend, he always used my phone. Because they asked her about her boyfriend using the phone, right? And she says, but oh yeah, I had to give him the code. Everybody's like, hold on. If he always used your phone, if he always got your phone, why the hell you had to give him a code? So it was little things like that that people thought she slipped up on that was going to get her jammed up in this case, right? Also, a lot of people felt she looked nonchalant during the trial, that she looked like she didn't care, giggling, smiling, all this other stuff. For you guys who just came in and don't know what's going on with this situation with Alicia Andrews, she has just got her verdict in. There are two different verdicts on her. Okay, she's been found guilty and not guilty. She's been found guilty of count one, which is first degree premeditated murder as a principal. And she was found not guilty of count two, which is conspiracy to commit first degree premeditated murder. Now, she was given an 18-year uh, plea deal. Now, remember, she thinks she's like 21 years old. She was given an 18-year plea deal, which she turned down. She turned down, right? 18-year plea deal, which she turned down, right? Um, and she's facing life. She was facing life on these other charges, right? So she took it to court, got on the stand and everything. And a lot of people just felt like some people felt like her testimony, it wasn't going to be without a shadow of a doubt, without a reasonable doubt. Some people thought her testimony, you know, a lot of people thought she was lying because they already just felt like she was involved. Some people I saw, they felt like her testimony was is not without beyond a reasonable doubt. Like you can't prove she knew, but it was a lot of shit going on. Like you in the car with dude, the shots go off. They got you on videotape running a red light with this cat. A lot of different factors. You know, coming up on this situation. Hold on one second, y'all. Let me get something to you guys. Uh Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Somebody sent me a message. So yeah, this is not clickbait. You're blocked, sir. This is not clickbait. She was found guilty and not guilty. The verdict just came out. What the hell is you talking about? Are you a fool or are you a damn fool? I'm just asking you. Are you a fool or are you a damn fool? You gonna come in here playing these punk ass games with me talking about some, hey man, nigga, shut your ass up. You sound like a damn fool. You sound like a damn fool. Right? The jury just came back with a split verdict, you idiot. Just now. She's found guilty of manslaughter, which is a lesser included offense of first-degree murder. She's found not guilty to conspiracy to commit first-degree murder, you idiot. Right? Now, she was crying as the verdict was read, was taken into custody immediately, and she faces sentencing on December the 8th of this year. The hell is you talking about? The verdict just came out. The verdict just came out. Now, basically, it's a partial victory for the defense, as it rejects the prosecution's push for the harshest possible charges while still holding her accountable for her involvement. So let me give you a breakdown, you damn fool in the comment section capping nigga. First of all, the legal distinction from first-degree murder. So in Florida, first-degree murder requires proof of premeditation, planning the killing with intent. Manslaughter, by contrast, is defined under the Florida statute of 78207 or .07 as the killing of a human by culpable negligence or during an unlawful act without intent to kill. It's a second-degree felony, not a capital crime. The jury likely viewed Mrs. Andrews' role, such as surveillance or presence during the shooting, as reckless or negligent facilitation, but not deliberate plotting, especially given the lack of direct evidence like firing a weapon or explicit conspiracy communications. The acquittal on conspiracy further signals the jury doubted proof of a formal agreement to murder. Now, the sentencing implications for her. She now faces up to 30 years in prison for manslaughter, though the actual sentence will depend on factors like her lack of prior criminal history, her age, remorse, and the judge's discretion. Florida uses a sentencing score sheet that could recommend 10 to 20 years or less, potentially with probation or house arrest options. Mitigating evidence of abuse, even if limited in trial, may influence leniency. Without the conspiracy count, she avoids an additional consecutive sentence. So broader case impact, as the first the first trial, this will set the tone for the remaining four defendants who face stronger evidence of direct involvement, such as shooters. Now, it underscores challenges in prosecuting peripheral actors in gang-related crimes, where proving intent is the key. For the Folio family and anti-gang advocates, it provides some justice, but highlights ongoing violence in Jacksonville's drill rap scene. So Mrs. Andrews' conviction could lead to a plea deal incentive for her to testify against co-defendants, though that's speculative. The case has drawn national attention because of Julio's rise to fame. So this woman, and I'm gonna say it again, this woman basically, she basically won at the end of the day. They didn't get her all the way. She basically won. When she was facing life. This woman was facing life in prison. They hit her with an 18-year plea deal. She turned the plea deal down, fought it, and went to trial. Right? She goes to trial. And she's only found guilty on one of the two charges. She has no criminal history. And so I'll be honest with you. I look at the judge probably get her 10 years. I look at the judge giving her 10 years. She was found guilty of manslaughter, which is the lesser included offense of first-degree murder. She was found not guilty of conspiracy to commit first-degree murder. Here you go right there. So her sentencing is on December the 8th. In my opinion, she probably gets 10 years. I think she gets 10 to 12 years. A lot of people thought she was going to get fried, bro. Me watching everybody during this case and watching the reactions, people thought she was done. They said she was fried. She took it to trial, bro. I don't see her getting more than 10 years. I'm be honest with y'all, just off of how this case went. Because see, listen, it's hard to prove intent if you don't have a smoking gun. When them jurors go in that jury, and when the jurors go back there and they deliberate, if they don't have a text, if they don't have a voicemail, if they don't have something that says with her that she directly knew and was in on the plot to murder this dude, it's hard to convict her on all counts. It's hard. They would have to, now the other dudes, it's not going to be easy for them. But with her situation, let me say this again to the dude who said I wanted to get life for a slap. No, I wasn't for that. You're a liar. You're a liar. And I don't even know about if she helped or not. I said, first of all, let me say this. I didn't even give my opinion, you idiot, asshole light. I didn't even give my opinion. I'm telling you what the law say, you idiot. I'm telling you what the law say. I didn't even give you my opinion. You sound like a goddamn fool. Talking about something I wanted to give Diddy life for a slap. That's all you think Diddy did to Cassie, you dumbass nigga? And it wasn't just about that, nigga. You fucking buffoon. Get your ass out of my channel, nigga. Tell your mother I said hello. Get your ass out of here, nigga. I'm out here breaking this shit down on what it really just happened. This idiot comes in here. Oh, but you wanted to get Diddy to get, nigga. I'm not even giving my opinion on the girl. I'm telling you the facts of the case. She was found guilty of manslaughter, nigga, which is the lesser of the offenses. With her not having no violent history, none of this shit, I can tell you right now, the judge probably gonna give her ass no more than 10 years. She was found not guilty on the conspiracy to commit first-degree murder. And I told you why she was found not guilty. It was gonna be hard for a jury to find her guilty of conspiracy to commit first-degree murder if they didn't have on paper, on phone, on audio, or witness to say she was in and knew about the plot. Because she could just play it like, and the way she said it during the trial, she made it seem like, oh, I ain't even know none of this was going on. They didn't have her seeing guns. Let me say this again. I did not say she was guilty of first-degree murder. You're a liar. I never said she was guilty of first-degree murder. I said that she was guilty of manslaughter. She was not guilty of the conspiracy to commit first-degree murder. You got to understand, the conspiracy to commit first-degree murder is damn near just the same as first-degree murder. Go back and listen to what I said. I'm pretty clear. I'm pretty sure I showed you that. So don't come in here putting words in my mouth. What I'm saying to you is this, right? I'm telling you from the jury's perspective. The jury would have had to seen something like a message. Because listen, the way she played it in court, she made it seem as if she didn't know nothing that was going on. They didn't have no pictures of her with them dudes when they was putting the guns up. They didn't have nothing connecting her to the guns. They had nothing connecting her to a text message saying she knew what was going to happen. They didn't have any of that stuff connecting her. Like, they didn't have any. That's why she took it to trial. They didn't have any evidence that was hardcore that could just say 1,000% without a shadow of a doubt she was in on the plot. Now, whether you think that, that's how you think. But I'm telling you, they didn't present any hardcore evidence that stated that she 1,000% knew. Right? And to the person who said she didn't know the killers, that's not the question. That's not the question the jury was looking at. The jury's not looking at whether or not she knew the killer. You might know some killers. That don't mean you know if they're gonna go do a drill. I'm telling you the way she played it, the way she said it as if, well, I ain't know nothing. I was just with this dude. You know what I'm saying? I didn't hear nothing about no plot. I didn't say. See, and that's the thing. If they don't have you on tape, if they don't have you on audio, if they don't have you on text, it's gonna be hard to find you guilty of conspiracy to commit first-degree murder. I'm telling you that. They literally gonna have you. Or have a witness. They didn't even have a witness that said, "Yeah, man, I heard she was in on the plot." I heard when she said, "Yeah, what time it was." They didn't have nobody like that. They used the circumstantial evidence to try to link her to being close to them to say, "Hey, she had to have known." Straight up. I'm just telling y'all what happened. I watched the trial. She got up there on the stand and said, "Man, I didn't know. I didn't know." How can they prove she knew or didn't know if they don't have like no text message to her, none of that stuff saying that they was gonna go do a drill on that dude? That's the thing. And when you get to that type of court, you have to prove beyond reasonable doubt. Straight up. So if you don't have a text message for any of those people, you know what I'm saying? I'm just telling y'all what it is. I'm not giving you my opinion. I'm giving you what happened. So all she had to do was go up there and just deny it. Because they didn't have, it doesn't matter. Hold on, sickly ignition. Let me say this to you. You said they had messages of her saying that she wanted him dead. That's not the same as as you plotting on a person to commit the murder. See, here's the thing, right? Somebody can go online and say something crazy, right? And then something crazy happens to the person the next day. Everybody say, "Oh, well, they said they wanted it to happen." No. But did they have evidence that they planned that to happen? Do they have evidence that they were a part of that happening? See, that's the difference in those two different statements. See what I'm saying? So that's why she's only going to get like 10 years or less. She don't have no criminal history. She don't have a violent history. They didn't have no hardcore evidence saying that she knew. That's why they hit her. They hit her with the manslaughter. She gonna get less than 10 years. She gonna get 10 years or less. Right? Now the other dudes, they gonna nail them in my opinion. Because they're gonna be harder to get. They're gonna be harder to get off because she used plausible deniability. Right? She used plausible. All she had to get up there and do, because once she looked at the evidence and saying they don't have no messages of her saying, "Yo, let's go do this," or "Let's do this," or "Let's do that," bro. Now it's you against them. And remember, her trial is first. So ain't nobody else come out here first and say something different in the trial that she knew. None of that. They didn't have nobody that went up there and that was a witness that flipped on her and said, "Nah, she knew. I knew she knew. I was there when they was planning." They didn't have nobody. She literally, I watched her testify. She literally got on the stand and basically denied knowing anything. Like, "Yo, I ain't know. I ain't know. Oh, I gave he always got my phone. But I had to put the code in." They asked her when she went to the club. They said, "Yo, why you had this mask on?" Because she had like the y'all know the mask they had on during the pandemic. So I guess she had one of those on, right? So they said, "Yo, why you had that mask on?" She was like, "Oh, because every time I go to the club, they be smoking a lot in the club, and I'm pregnant. I didn't want to inhale that smoke and stuff like that." That's what she said. She got right up there on the stand and said all of these things. They said, well, what kind of shoes you had on? She said, I had on Crocs. Crocs to the club. And then she sat up there and described the type of Crocs she had on. Crocs, I think she said she had on blue jeans and a whatchamacallit. Who wears that to the club? I'm just saying. But it's hard to overcome that because they didn't have nobody else up there to combat what she was saying. So now, if you're the jury, it's not even about the jury believing what she say. It's the jury believing what they could prove. Right? That's the part y'all got to understand. It's when you get to these murder cases like this, and in the court, it's beyond a reasonable doubt. You have to be able to prove beyond a reasonable doubt. So she got off on she got off on a manslaughter charge. She got off and got found guilty on manslaughter, which is way lenient. Remember, she's 21 years old. Even if she go to prison for 20 years, she'd be out by 40. That's better than her doing life. Because if she would have got found guilty of both charges, she doing life. Now, what does this do? All her co-defendants, what does this do? Now, they can't say she testified against them. So now they can't say her testimony was used to incriminate or say that one of them did. She can't even do that because she sat up there and said, oh, I ain't hear nothing. I ain't know nothing. She literally said, what she said she heard was, he said, oh, this shit packed. You know what I mean? When they ran the red light, they asked her, why y'all run that red light right there? This is after the shots went off. She was like, oh, he was looking at his phone, typing something in his phone, or looking at a message, she said, and ran the red light. She said, I asked him, what you doing? Think about what I just said. But here's the thing with her. They didn't have her in the room with no guns. They didn't have her in the room with no weapons. They didn't have her in the room. They didn't have her on tape with no plot. They didn't have her on text message. And I watched. Everybody thought during that trial, because I watched that trial live. I watched it live on Law and Crime. Everybody thought she was done going for life. They all thought she was going for life. And the whole time I'm like, hold on, when they gonna crack out this evidence that showed without a reasonable doubt that she knew? Because if they don't crack out that evidence, that jury ain't gonna find her guilty, bro. Look how these juries been rocking. They're not gonna find her guilty on all those charges. Like, share, subscribe, y'all. Hey, I really appreciate you guys for supporting the channel, supporting the network. Like, share, and subscribe. Once again, there are links. Get the free membership on our website. That way you guys won't miss any of our news update stories or videos. They're all on the website, ticketvmedia.com. You go over there. You can go right to the members part and become a free member. That way you guys will get all the updates. Also, straight drop weight loss formula. Make sure y'all go tap in and copy some of that, as well as subscribing to our podcast show. Link will be pinned at the top of the chat down there below. And also, we just appreciate all y'all who support the channel. Cash App, PayPal.